every week. Catch it fresh as on your TV. Field level football, Quan, Pat, and CT. On the field running plays for the 3P. And we shine lights, camera action when you see the team. Pick 6, touchdown when I got the ball. And if you think you in my league, tell them knock it off. Money calling every day and I just got the call. Reduction over projection, it's in us, we just got a ball. We just got a ball. We just got a ball. We just got a ball.
Field Level family, it's the Field Level Football Podcast of the West Coast, where you rolling and chilling with two Niners and a Raider. I'm Pat, that's Quan, that's CT. My guys, how we doing today? Quan, what's up, man? I see the Solano County Ravens shirt on. Let's talk about it. How y'all doing? You on mute? Oh, Quan, you might be on mute. She was just working. That's crazy how that works. CT, how you doing, buddy? CT, you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, brother.
Yeah, what's going on? How you doing, man? Check in.
Oh, I'm straight, bro. Had our first game today. A lot of things to learn, but good afternoon, man. Shout out to my mother-in-law. Mercy, it was her birthday, so we went to Benihana's and did that thing. But yeah, just looking forward to getting this week going, and you know, our team is 2-0, so I'll take that.
All right, 2-0, man, undefeated, doing really, really good things the San Francisco 49ers we're talking about right there. Quan's team is also 2-0. The Las Vegas Raiders are also 2-0. Hard fought.
Would you look at that?
Would you look at that? Las Vegas Raiders 2-0 as well. I'm sure Quan is thrilled, ecstatic about that particular situation. But a lot of great football was played today. Quan, how you doing? You enjoying your 2-0 Las Vegas Raiders?
Am I back?
You back?
Super back.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, man, you know, I'm enjoying my 2-0. I mean, I kind of predicted it. I was kind of right.
Wow.
You know, that was
just
a little bit.
If loving them is wrong, if loving them is wrong, count me wrong.
Hey, y'all lucky.
I want to be right.
You lucky. You lucky.
Right.
It's hot in my house right now because I had to take my Raider hoodie off just to do the show.
Well, God works in mysterious ways. What a great day though in football. I mean, I think honestly, I don't know if it's just a simple fact that football is back on the level that it's back. Being the fans are back, the allure is back, all of that we're talking about is back. But I just feel as though like this season, it just feels different. It's exciting. Every game, it seems like so far. In week 2, we're in week 2, and it just seems like every game means something. And I think that's kind of intriguing to see. You are seeing games like the one that just went off, this Baltimore Ravens and Kansas City Chiefs game. It was intriguing to watch because at the end of the game, I mean, John Harbaugh and them guys are celebrating like they just won the ball. But it's that kind of level of intensity that we're looking at right now. Matter of fact, let's chat about that game that just happened. I think initially I was afraid for the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore comes out. Lamar throws 2 early interceptions, 2 early first quarter interceptions. Shout out to Tyrann Mathieu. Comes off of that COVID list, comes back. First game this season, 2 picks early. Bang, bang. Let's get it out the way. Let's get back. Let's get back to regular schedule programming. And early on there, it looked like Kansas City was just getting ready to run away with it. It looked like they were just going to, come out and make it happen. But Lamar Jackson, I can say he impressed the socks off of me today. He locked in, got back right, and really pushed the ball, ran the ball for over 100 yards, threw for, I want to say, over 2, and really willed that team to the win at the end. And I'm not going to say he showed any chinks in Kansas City's armor because it's Lamar Jackson, and there's not a lot of quarterbacks in this league that can do what he just did. But he willed them to a win, and then you got to give him that. Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes looked like Patrick Mahomes for most of the game. But then it's a gift and a curse with Patrick Mahomes. It's like almost kind of like how that Brett Favre thing is. The gunslinger, they're going to throw some off time, off schedule passes. They're going to do some things that aren't always smart. And late there, going to the ground, trying to avoid a sack, throws the ball in the air, and it gets picked off by Baltimore and ended up turning into a scoring drive for them that ended up clinching and winning that game. So it's a gift and a curse when you talk about Patrick Mahomes. And then end of the game there, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, when they're potentially just running the clock down to get into field goal range to win the game, he fumbles the ball in the backfield. Baltimore recovers. Then, like I said, Lamar goes ahead, which was interesting enough. I think it's always important to note and look at you guys how much confidence these head coaches have in their quarterbacks. If you were watching that game, you see John Harbaugh on the sideline come on the field and screaming Lamar's name and says, "Do you want to go for it?" That was huge for me. Put the ball in his playmaker's hand. Clearly, Lamar says yes. Lamar goes quarterback draw, gets the first down, quarterback power, gets the first down, 2 knees, and the game is over. So I think that was kind of intriguing, man, to look at. Did Kansas City show you? I don't know how much of the game you guys watched. Did Kansas City show you that they're not as superior as they once were? I should say. CT, we'll start with you.
I'm very happy about the outcome of this game for a lot of reasons. But, I do believe that they showed us what I've always believed. Opportunistic defense, but can be chopped down quite a bit. I think you saw that with the running game today. Obviously, Lamar, takes 80, 90% of that, but they were efficient with what they did with their backs. The example there is, Lamar was 16 for 107. T. Williams was 13 for 77, so that's good carries. Latavius gave you 9 for 36, but had that tug. So, and actually Devonta Freeman too. Devonta Freeman, he had 2 for 29, but there's a lot of sprinkle and mix in there with a lot of different bodies, which I could appreciate. And that definitely wore down Kansas City as the game continued on and opened up a lot for Lamar because he was doing a lot of that RPO. And when he pulled it, they were fooled. You know what I mean? Considering the type of athlete he is, I'm more concerned with Lamar than I am any one of them running backs I just named. However, he was able to get loose. So I think it did show a lot.
Without a doubt. I completely and utterly concur with what you were saying. Quan, I mean, let me say this, man. Travis Kelce, man, he's a heck of a tight end. He's a heck of a tight end. I keep on getting more and more respect for this guy as the weeks go by. Quan, I don't know how much of the game you caught, but I'm sure you got to look at some box score numbers. How'd you feel about what happened over there?
I was watching a little bit of it on my phone on the way home from the game that I had. I will say this. First off, they did a great job game planning for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
They did a great job. Tyreek Hill was pretty much non-existent in this game. And they still put up 35 points. So, I mean, great job for the Chiefs. I think that's one of the things for the Ravens. That's one of the things you have to know when you play the Chiefs. If you don't get in the 30s, you're probably not going to win. So however Baltimore had to do it, they got it done. I don't like that the Ravens still cannot throw the ball. Now, granted, I know their first round pick is not available. Rashad Bateman, I think is his name. I know he's not available yet, so maybe when he comes in, maybe that's something that they need to address. But I don't like that they still cannot throw the ball consistently outside the numbers. And you could kind of tell because I don't know if Lamar is hearing the chatter, but the 2 interceptions he threw, especially the first one. I'm sorry, not the first. The first one was just more inaccurate. The second one, like, bro, it's triple covered.
Right.
Triple covered. Like, so and they're trying to force it to Hollywood. So I don't like their passing offense. And I think that is the Achilles heel for the Ravens going long in the playoffs. They'll get to the playoffs just based off of Lamar being Lamar. They'll get to the playoffs. Right. But they're not going to do nothing past that. So, but as far as today, I thought they played well. Mahomes was Mahomes, but like you said, Pat, I agree. I think that interception was just sometimes you can't make every play. Sometimes, you got to take the sack, especially when you're already falling down. Take the sack, live to play for another down, punt the ball off, and make Lamar and the Ravens have to go the length of the field. You give them a short field, that kind of switches momentum. But I was very surprised at how the Ravens defense played with all the bodies that they had out.
Yeah, I mean, extremely big. So the Ravens get the win. Kansas City falls to 1-1. Intriguing. It's very intriguing to see what that AFC West is going to pan out to look like as the season progresses. Quan, congratulations. The Las Vegas Raiders are sitting atop the AFC West.
I'm I'm not shocked.
Don't know how much longer. Don't know how much longer that's going to last. But as it is occurring, I need you to bask in it, man. You got to bask in it. A couple games, man. Let's just touch and talk about just a few of these West Coast games. We got a lot of West Coast followers with us, so we want to make sure we just at least sprinkle a little bit of love on your team. The first game I want to talk about is that game that went into overtime. All right, the Seattle Seahawks Tennessee Titans game. Tennessee ends up winning the game on the late field goal, 33-30. But this game was very interesting to me. Seattle won. I hate that Kerry Hyder's over there. Kerry Hyder, I mean, he just was balling. He had a game. Kerry Hyder just jumped out. Yeah, he jumped out to me. You know, had a tackle for a loss, 4 tackles. It's Kerry Hyder's there. Then also had a fumble recovery as well. Shout out to Kerry Hyder, man, former 49er. Where Seattle's gonna have trouble is this. One, it kills me because year after year, you know, we see these things that happen that Seattle's just synonymous for, and it's just Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett. And I'm trying to figure out when in the world is somebody gonna figure out this Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett thing and shut it down. It irritates me. I hate to see little Tyler Lockett, 5'8", just running down the field at a receiver, just outrunning these guys, just making plays, and it grinds my gears. I'm not a fan of it.
Hey, you know what Tyler Lockett is? Tyler Lockett is the plain Jane Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. And if I be real, Tyler Lockett is much better than Brandon Cooks ever was.
He is better.
Oh no, don't get me wrong, he's better. I just thought like size, stature, always.
I'm gonna tell you what Tyler Lockett is. Can I tell you what Tyler Lockett is?
Yes, you can.
The lesser publicized Tyreek Hill. Speed,
yeah.
If you look at the big playabilities of the two, I'm talking straight big playability. If you look at it, if you watch Tyler Lockett's highlights and put them up against Tyreek Hill's highlights, I would be interested to see what that looks like.
See T looking at you like, what you talking about, Willis?
He can look at me if you just do it with what Nike said. Just do it. Go ahead and put them highlights together, and you tell me what you see. Period. Point blank. One thing I will say, man, looking at this game, Seattle has to find a run game. It was glaring today. Seattle, as a team, rushed for 77 yards.
The last 2 years, bro.
As a team, rushed for 77 yards. Leading rusher was Chris Carson. 13 carries for 31 yards, averaged 2 yards a carry. Sheesh. We're talking about a huge issue. Although what was more glaring to me was that, you know, you got a couple running backs over there in Seattle. I don't know what everyone's health condition is looking like. I think Rashad Penny's out, if I'm thinking correctly. But it was Chris Carson. It was Chris Carson. And Alex Collins was the only 2 running backs that touched the ball today at all. And Alex Collins only touched the ball once.
So where's like you said, Penny's out. Where's DJ Dallas? Where's Travis Homer?
Right. Where are these guys at? It was crazy because Travis Homer played. Travis Homer had 2 catches for 14 yards, no carries at all. So it's kind of weird to see literally only 1 running back that had rushing attempts. I mean, I'm not going to count Alex Collins 1 carry. I'm not even going to count. No. It was for 25 yards, but when in the grand scheme of things, you know, for Seattle to come in and have just 1 running back get carries, it's kind of weird. In a sense, shout out to
Russ Cook again.
Shout out to Freddie Swain.
Oh, I was waiting to say that, but I was going to wait my turn because
Freddie Swain, though.
Your predictions just be right, baby. Come on, man. Hey, give me my flowers.
For sure. This is somebody that Quan has talked about since he's coming to the league. Even before he came to the league, Quan was high on the guy. So Freddie Swain comes out, has 5 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown. You know what I mean? So that was interesting to see. So and I don't know what's going on. I know DK Metcalf had 6 catches for 53. But it didn't feel like 6 catches for 53. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, when you don't feel like you're affecting the game at all. So I'm interested to see what happens with DK going forward this season because it just doesn't look hot to me. But on the other side of the ball, I mean, Derrick Henry, 35 carries, 182 yards. Shout out to that, man. So that's crazy. It's kind of it seems as though Seattle was trying to do the same thing Tennessee was doing because Derrick Henry was the only running back that got carries in Tennessee today.
Yeah, but that's not out of the normal.
Yeah, it's not out of the norm, but it's just like, sheesh, man. You know, Julio still has crazy numbers, no touchdowns. It's like Julio will put up 150 receiving yards, no touchdowns. It'd be killing me.
They just need to put him in the. Hey, what they need to do is just put him in the backfield when they get close, and just
something.
See if he can punch it in there.
Y'all give me y'all takes on what y'all seen in Seattle today.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
You know, I thought they had it. I thought they had it early. From what I was looking at, I was like, dang, man, Tennessee's having 2 rough weeks. And for them to bounce back the way they did in the second half was very telling to me. 14 points in the fourth quarter, and then obviously sealing it in OT, huge. And then a lot of that had to do, obviously, with Derrick Henry. Big day, 60-yard touchdown, as well as some long runs that he put together, a couple cutbacks, very smooth. And then I'll be honest with you, I don't think it goes into OT if Julio Jones isn't robbed. I personally think that was a catch. I'll debate about it all day. But switching over to Seattle, Lockett's been so consistent for them. He's going to go down probably as their best receiver ever until DK eventually takes that over. Actually, I don't know about Largent, still that guy. So he'll be like the second best. But the run game has been scaring me for 2 to 3 years. Carson can't stay healthy, trains like a madman, but you really don't see that display itself on the field consistently. Collins is a pretty good backup running back when he's used. But like you said, the diversity and the carries don't display themselves. And what's the point in having all the other backs you have if you're not going to use them? Russell Wilson, again, efficient in the passing game. They have a little bit of a better line this year from a pass pro perspective, but still struggling. And Bobby Wagner is going to have 150 tackles at this rate. He had 16 solo and 20 total. And they're still figuring it out, man. But this is going to be a tough year for them. They're going to have to battle out with teams like that and throw it a little bit more than they're comfortable doing. And I think that's what could cost them in the end.
I'll just say this to be quick. When you talk about DK, like he has 6 catches, but maybe the impact wasn't there. I think DK in his third year is starting to get that treatment of like, hey, we're not going to let out of all the receivers, we're not going to let this dude do it. Now, they're taking their chance with Tyler Lockett because Tyler Lockett is like you said, Pat, he's the lesser, or he doesn't look like the flashier. He doesn't look like the guy who's going to beat you. He looks, it's almost like how the Raiders have with Hunter Renfrow. Like people look at him and he looks like an accountant.
Right.
He just doesn't pump that fear in you visually, but really he's a bad man. You know what I'm saying? But I think if they had to choose, teams are choosing to just try to take away DK and they'll live with the Lockett or elsewhere. So I'm not really worried about DK. DK is going to be fine because if Tyler Lockett keeps going off like he is, or Freddie Swain starts to step up and have days like he had today on a more consistent basis now that he's moved himself up the depth chart, then maybe DK will then get his love later. But I think they need to figure out their run game. I think we're all in agreement here. If Russell Wilson could do that, he could throw the ball all over the lot. He got the arm. He got the receivers. But they are better, and it's proven. It's a fact. They are better when they're balanced.
Right.
I'd rather see like they're winning. They're going deep in the playoffs when Russell is only throwing 25 passes total, but he has 300 yards instead of Russell being in the 40s. Like, you know what I mean? So I think they need to get the run game. They need to get that going. And if Rashad, look, they need to trade him before the deadline to get another lineman at this point because he's just not doing anything for them.
What value?
Why keep him?
I'm not a fan.
Huh?
No value.
What can you get? I'm not a fan. I don't think
value.
they could if they wanted to.
Well, I think we all know you're not going to get value like what you drafted him at. But why keep him?
Right.
He look. Yeah. You said Chris Carson can never really stay healthy, which I think we all agree. But if he can't stay healthy, Well, then what do we say about Penny? I mean, let's not forget, Rashad Penny was supposed to be the feature. That's why he was a first round pick. He's not even a rotational piece.
Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
True.
I think they got to figure it out.
Everybody gets a bus. So Rashad Penny's gonna be their bus. But shout out to the Seattle Seahawks for fumbling the bag in the NFC West streak of being undefeated.
Fumbled the bag.
Fumbled the bag. Let's talk about the.
Oh no, our host, he went away.
Let's talk about the Arizona car. I'm gonna flip right in because that's what he would want me to do in this situation. And I'll pass the ball right back.
Y'all know it's not a show if it don't happen once a show. It's just not a show.
Hey,
It isn't. I was ready though.
CT was ready to go off the rip about the Cardinals game. So since you're back, let's do it.
Yeah. So no, let's shout out to AZ. Was AZ Coda? All my Arizona Cardinals.
He owned us again, baby. We got you. This time.
We got you this time. We're gonna talk about these Arizona Cardinals, man. Shout out to the Arizona Cardinals for coming through, taking on Minnesota. Right? It's the game's in Arizona. One thing I will say, man, this Kyler Murray dude.
MVP.
He's pretty good at football. He had 2 interceptions, so I'm not gonna absolve him of those. But to come out, you throw 400 yards. Whenever you throw 400 yards in the game, I mean,
something.
But what's more impressive for me, 400 yards on 36 attempts. That's where things get pretty impressive. When we talk about 400 yards on 36 attempts, then you go back and you say 29 of 36. You mean to tell me this guy missed 7 balls? This guy missed 7 passes. How crazy is that? QBR of 65.3, rating of 117.6. Wonderful day for the young lad. Then you go back, you start to look at these receivers and seeing what these receivers did. The rookie Rondale Moore out of Purdue, balled out 5'7". Come on, dude. What's going on? You're not supposed to kill like this. You're 5'7". You have no business having 7 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown. You're 5'7" on 8 targets. Well, I mean, at this point, you talk about then you have Williams had 7 catches for 94 on 7 targets. Mm-hmm. Kirk had 3 catches for 65 on 4 targets. DeAndre Hopkins had 4 for 54 on 4 targets. The only person that he was missing on was AJ Green. AJ Green, he missed 3 times. And if you look at it like that, AJ Green missed 3 times. Just don't throw him the ball anymore. You don't need him. But Arizona looks very strong. Arizona looks good. Shout out to Jalen Thompson, the Wazoo Coug. Go Cougs. Has 8 tackles, lead the teams in tackles and QB hits. But this Arizona team, I was down on them. If you guys remember that, beginning of this year, I was down on them. I said that Arizona would kind of round out the bottom of the NFC West this year. I don't know anymore. I reserve the right to be wrong. But Kyler Murray is a special player. When you have a special player on your team, anything can happen. So shout out to them. I do want to say shout out to their defense as well. I know they gave up 33 points, right? Dalvin Cook is going to do what Dalvin Cook does. You're not going to stop him. You can only hope to contain him, right? He had 131 yards, no touchdowns. But where I was more impressed with, all right, KJ Osborne went crazy, but they were able to hold, Justin Jefferson at 65, Adam Thielen at 39. For me, that's a win. In a sense of those are their big play guys, those are their explosives. But so shout out to Arizona, 2-0 to start this season. Go up against the Minnesota team who's 0-2 now, but we'll see how they pan out a little bit later. But I just think that Arizona is going to surprise a lot of football teams this year. And Arizona, for me, the way they're playing football as of right now are clearly a playoff team.
Yeah.
Quan.
I really don't have too much to say. I think you hit everything that I was going to touch on, but I do want to just say I know one of the big things this year was will the Cardinals offense take that next step? We knew their defense would just be better just based off of the addition of J.J. Watt, the more reps, the more experience that Isaiah Simmons would get, and then obviously Chandler Jones coming back healthy. We knew the defense was just going to go a little bit up just based off of those three factors.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all saying, well, will that offense get stagnant? Will it kind of hit a wall with Cliff, or will we see something? Well, Kyler's just that special, like you said. And I like that he did all that damage through the air, because
Right.
that's the step that I wish I would see from someone like who we talked about earlier with Lamar. We know Kyler can run. Lamar, we know you can run. And I guess like today, Lamar had to run. I get it. He had to run to secure the victory. But can you do it with your arm? We know, everyone knows you can run. Can you do it the other way? Kyler was darting them up all day long. And when he gets in a bind, yeah, you can always go back to your scramble bag. You can always go back there. It ain't going nowhere. You know, take the offense to that next level. And I think Kyler's doing that, because they've now hit 30 points the first 2 weeks, or 30 plus, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I see great things from this team, and they're 2-0. They look strong. And I agree with you, Pat. When you can lock down Thielen and Jefferson, which means Byron Murphy put out a good effort. I think Byron Murphy, his first round status, he's living up to that now. And yeah, man, I think they're gonna be straight, man. I think they're gonna be straight.
Nah, no doubt about it. CC, how you feel about it?
You know what? I don't have too much to say about Minnesota, but I will talk about Arizona. You know, I think a lot of times, like, for instance, I'll use this example. Kyle Shanahan, we clearly know that the offense, and he makes his players play to their potential and even potentially better than who they really are, right? Cliff Kingsbury, I had a lot of doubts going into this season, was disappointed last year and the year before. Kyler Murray clearly is going to elevate them to a different level that's going to protect Cliff longer than maybe what he should be protected. That's what it feels like.
That's a good point.
And I have to give them credit for that. I got to give them their kudos. You know, we forget what makes Kyler different is not only his throwing ability, but the accuracy in which he throws. He's a very, very accurate passer, which resonates with me as I looked on this box score and the stats, the amount of targets. I'm pretty sure that was AJ Green's fault because everything else was on point everywhere else. And he willed his team to a win, you know, so you don't really have those doubts from a passing perspective. And you don't have those doubts from a running perspective. He has the total package, and he makes them a very scary team. Isaiah Hustle Simmons coming back, good start to the year so far. Looks a little bit more mature, a little bit more grounded than he was when he was a rook. You know, Chandler's going crazy on people right now. You know, I think this team is up there. I think it's going to be a dogfight when the Niners play him, when Seattle plays him, when the Rams play him. Those will be interesting matchups because they'll really be able to display where they are and potentially save Cliff's job. And
we all know that those divisional games hit a little bit different in the same token. So we'll see how that stuff ends up. Quickly, because just for time's sake, shout out to the Los Angeles Rams defeating the Colts 27-24, remaining undefeated. You had the intriguing game with the Los Angeles Chargers and the Dallas Cowboys, where Dallas comes back a little bit later and ends up winning that game. So shout out to those two teams, and shout out to the Broncos taking care of business with the Jags as they should, to round up what that AFC and NFC West look like. Quan, I want to talk about the Raiders. I want to talk about the Raiders. I know that you had a game today, so you weren't as tuned in as you would want it to be. But in the same manner that I tweeted last week, well, hello, Brian Edwards, I also want to tweet this week, well, hello, Henry Ruggs. I don't like to say that type of stuff, but Henry Ruggs, five catches, 113 yards, touchdown on 7 targets. Derek Carr had a heck of a day. Shout out to Derek Carr, goes in 28 to 37, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns. Was only sacked twice. So shout out to that. Interestingly enough, I think because of the way of the game, the trajectory of the game, not a lot of rushing. Not a lot of rushing from the Raiders today. Kenyon Drake had 7 carries. Barber had 13. Did Drake go down? I don't know if he went down or whatever, but Drake only having 7 carries kind of was confusing for me. But, Quan, how do you feel about your Las Vegas Raiders? getting a value win against Pittsburgh.
To me, it's a good thing. Our first two opponents are from the AFC North. AFC North is a pretty good defensive division. When you look at the Browns, the Ravens, Steelers, and I'm missing one more team in that division. And the Bengals, but I'm very happy. Josh Jacobs did not play, so I knew we were not going to run the ball like that. I already knew that. Instead, we had extensions of the run. Derek Carr was hitting Kenyon Drake a lot out the backfield, real quick dump offs. He was doing the same with Peyton Barber, who we elevated off the practice squad for this game. So I knew that was going to be an extension of the run. We even got Henry Ruggs on a reverse or two. Brian Edwards also has some pretty clutch catches later in the game. But Derek Carr, I hope people give Derek Carr his flowers in Raider Nation now, because for the last 2 years I've been hearing about we need to get a new quarterback. John Gruden don't want him. What's not to like? Seriously, like let's really just sit back and just look at it. What is not to like? He commands the offense. He knows what to do with the football. He's smart. He's very accurate. The biggest problem I always had with Derek Carr is that he wouldn't extend plays in the pocket or with his legs. He's doing that more now. He can still do it a little more, but he's doing it more now. And he's giving his guys chances to throw the ball. That throw to Henry Ruggs wasn't even he didn't even break off into that route down the seam. He hadn't even broke yet. He just threw it.
Right.
That's giving your guy a chance to make the play. And Henry Ruggs went and made the play. And obviously we didn't really use Darren Waller that much. The Steelers were bracketing him pretty heavy, and Carr went elsewhere, which is a pretty much lopsided thing from what he did in our first game. So I'm very pleased. I do want to shout out. I know you guys drafted Solomon Thomas. Well, he's on our team. He had 2 sacks today.
Yeah.
So Solomon Thomas is getting used much in our rotation. I see you got the chili cheese Fritos. Shout out to them. Not to mention, also on our defense, Damon Arnett only played 1 snap against the Ravens, but he came up huge today where he had 2 pass deflections. He did a very good job when he came in. Casey Hayward had a very good game. He got banged up a little bit. That's why Arnett played more today. But I think his rotation and him showing what he could do will allow him to see more next week. Trayvon Mullen, who I think is our most underrated player on our defense, had another pick today. So that looks good. We're a little more banged up at linebacker. Denzel Perryman was a little shaken up earlier in the game. But, man, let me just say this, and then I'll leave it alone. Yannick Ngakoue tried to go with his hamstring. He did what he could. I think he got pulled at halftime just to keep him rested. Cleveland Farrell played a little bit, but Max Crosby, I'm glad he's finally getting the respect he deserves, because he was getting double-teamed all game long. And it's rightfully so. He right now is a beast. And I know Bosa was the rookie of the year and deserve it so.
Yeah, you better.
I said deserve it so.
Y'all had to come off on mute on that one, but go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
I'm just glad that Crosby
Don't be disrespectful.
He's starting to get the respect he deserves.
Okay.
With the way he plays. That's all I'm saying.
Because I don't know why you said Nick Bosa's name, so I was trying to figure that out.
Because last year their numbers were very comparable. But let's be honest. People, the media loves to talk about the Niners more than they do the Raiders. We both had the same record.
I call a flag on a play. Are
you serious? Don't do that.
Flag on the play.
Don't do
that. The media loves to talk about the Raiders.
No, they do not.
There was just nothing to talk about.
Y'all had nothing to talk about neither. We had the same record.
If you want to bring that into comparison,
exactly.
We had the highest IR number in the history of the league.
So what? The Chargers been having high IR numbers forever.
I gotta go home, and I'm home.
Anyway, last thing I'll say, then I'm moving on to you guys. Alex Leatherwood, our rookie tackle, he did a great job on TJ Watt. He did give up a sack, 1 sack, but he did a great job on TJ Watt. So hopefully we keep seeing him progress. with more reps. So I'm very pleased with my team. 2-0, baby. 2-0.
All right. I'm impressed, to be honest with you. We've had a lot of criticism over the years with Derek Carr and just everything that's been going on with him. I got to shout him out, though, because you guys, in my opinion, other than the Cowboys for the last 5 years, at one point had the best line in the NFL, right? And, name-wise and essentially resume-wise. And you lose a few of those guys, right? And had to retool and rebuild that line. And Derek Carr is playing just as good, if not better, than he was when he had that line at full strength. That tells me a lot about his game and how he's really taking leadership in a different way than he previously did. I don't know if this is a coming out party for Ruggs, but it was good to see him go deep and be utilized in the way that he's supposed to. I was impressed. I still think Darren Waller had a pretty good game overall. For a tight end, 5 for 65 is pretty solid. Obviously not what you saw last week, but I think that was a good way for him. And then, Pat, you had mentioned, Kenyon Drake. He got 7 carries, right? But we all know that that's not his game, man. He's in the passing game, so 5 for 46, in regards to receptions. That's accurate, and that's probably what he should be doing, in my opinion. Perriman, he's been balling the last 2 games for you guys. Good player. Good to see him do his thing, especially my guy from the U. Solomon Thomas, very interested to see how he does overall. As he continues to assert himself, I think he's being used in a way that's going to benefit him better.
I hate that you use the term assert himself with Solomon Thomas in the same sentence. I hate that you did that, but go ahead.
He got most. Never mind, I'll be quiet. Never mind.
I mean, hey, hopefully this works for him to be as high as a pick as he was and to be doing the things he was doing. He needs this. So
Solomon, assert really yourself, Solomon. We'll see how that goes.
Hey, how many sacks? Who leads your team in sacks right now?
Nick Bosa.
Well, how many?
3.
You got 2. Oh yeah, you're right.
He has 3.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Solly has 2 and don't start. So chill out. Hey.
Oh, don't do that.
That's what I'm saying. I can't even talk to him no more. He's done.
Look, you're 2-0, bro. How you gonna be after 8 games? And let's say you guys are 5 and 3.
Watch this. Watch this, CT. Watch this. He's muted. He's muted. He can't talk.
That's how you used to do people on.
Don't be doing that.
Cold Pizza.
Muted. I have to make mention, CT. Got to make mention before we end this segment, before we stop talking about the Las Vegas Raiderettes. The way, nope, I don't even want to hear you. The way Najee Harris threw Jonathan Abram like a rag doll.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
He threw that man like that man weighed $150. It was terrible. Terrible. Najee, chill out.
Horrible.
He tried to go. He said he tried to go for the ball, but it don't matter, man. You can't look like that.
Yeah, it was bad. So shout out to Las Vegas Raiders, 2-0, atop the AFC West. Good day for those guys over there. Let's move over to the 5-time champion San Francisco 49ers and talk about how they had what happened?
5 times.
Not bad.
5 rings.
Oh, okay.
But what a war this game was between the Philadelphia Eagles and the 49ers. I got to say this, man. I do believe after coming out of this game, if that Philly team could stay healthy, they're winning the NFC East. They're winning the NFC East. They have a lot of talent over there. A lot of talent at the right places. That offensive line, that defensive line, that's where you win games.
Just took a hit. Brandon Graham towards Achilles.
They did take a hit. Prayers up for that young man. Oh, okay. But no, they have it. They have it in the right places. That offensive line, defensive line, the trenches are great. Jalen Hurts is looking solid. If he can continue to play the way he's playing, I definitely see Philly winning the NFCs. My personal opinion, over Dallas, over of course the Giants, who are terrible, and over Washington's football team. But as it pertains to the San Francisco 49ers, the first quarter of this game, I got to be honest with you, I was sitting at home, getting ready to get ready for church, just watching the game, and I found myself yelling at Jimmy Garoppolo in that first quarter. I mean, he did not look good at all in the first quarter. First quarter, he missed high on a bunch of passes, missed a wide open Mohamed Sanu to keep a drive going, missed a wide open. I forget who the receiver was, but just was missing guys wide open early on. It seemed as though he was pressing or whatever the case may be. But once he settled in, he began to make some throws that were Jimmy Garoppolo type throws. Jimmy has the propensity or the ability to throw into very small windows accurately. And he began to do that. I have to say, Debo is asserting himself this year, and you're seeing his ability just skyrocket. Debo is starting to really look like a number one. And I appreciate that. This whole Brandon Ayuk saga that's going on, I needed to right itself, whatever the case may be, because it's starting to be a bit of a distraction. But I give him kudos to the fact that he caught the one ball that was, a drive extender. So shout out to him. We'll say this, it's hard to run on that Philadelphia front seven, and Kyle is such an amazing coach that he was able to end game before halftime, because a lot of times you see guys make adjustments post, halftime. Javante says, Quan, your son go crazy.
Oh, right on, bro. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Shout out to Jay. But no, his ability to make in-game adjustments was what I loved. They started the game off trying to hit the middle of the defense. And once they seen that was just kind of going to be a no-go, like it was banging your head against a wall, they began to run those toss leads. And it made a huge difference in how this outcome of this game went. One player I have to highlight today. I know I do my little player highlights. One player I want to highlight today is Kyle Juszczyk. The way he plays football is so. I understand. I just understand why they keep re-signing this guy. I understand why he's worth what he's worth. He is indispensable. Like, he is somebody that makes this offense tick. The way that they're able to use him in the backfield and as a tight end, just kind of the way he's moving around, he's making the right blocks. He's a guy that if any big play happens for the 49ers, follow where 44 was. And I guarantee you can trace it back to 44. That's one thing I have to say that's great. One thing I have to say great about my man George Kittle, 4 catches for 17. You're not gonna get excited about that. But if you go back and you watch his blocking, I mean, Pancake City, IHOP. I'm gonna start calling George Kittle IHOP. George Kittle now is IHOP, straight up. Just a heck of a day in the blocking game. Another guy I gotta say this. Josh Norman. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. 2 crucial pass interference calls that I hated by the ref. Especially the second one. The second one was not PI. But Josh Norman was aggressive all game and did not let those penalties change the way he played the game. And that was paramount for me. Stayed aggressive, stayed on the line of scrimmage, stayed playing with his hands. And I think that he is going to be such an underrated signing for this football team as this year progresses. If he can stay healthy, this guy is going to be such an underrated signing for us. Happened just in the nick of time with the Verrett going down. But this guy, I believe, is going to be a really, really good ball player for us. Like I said, Nicky Bosa comes back off of the torn ACL and is leading the team in sacks already. Freddie Warner, if I could be completely and utterly, I'm going to just be honest with y'all. Look, this is crazy. I haven't been too happy with Fred.
Interesting.
I haven't. Fred's been playing good. I mean, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. But I think because of the caliber of player that he's turning into, right? We're talking about him being an elite linebacker in this league. Arguably number one in that top three talk. You talk about Fred Warner, Bobby Wagner, and you can either put Darius Leonard or one of them boys down from Tampa Bay. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So because he's at that caliber, I hold him to it. And sometimes he misses some tackles that I don't like. And it's glaring now because I'm looking at it and I ask myself, would Bobby Wagner have made that tackle? You know what I mean? We're getting to that place where I'm nitpicking on him, but it's because I expect him to be that great, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
CT, how'd you feel about this game?
Say that one more time.
I said, CT, how'd you feel about it?
I was hot and cold on this game. I was pretty irritated for most of it. Very slow, obviously. Very proud of the defense to keep it, within range going into damn near halftime at, 3-0 before the Niners finally made a move. I thought that was impressive. These are the games that you have to win. These games, tell you a lot about your team and really tell the story of the season. And I felt like this was an important, grindy win. Learning a lesson from last week and then being able to come into this game after being kind of flat. They ain't been home in about a week and a half. No excuse, but I love the fact that they came back and fought in the end. Obviously, our running game wasn't going, and this is pretty much all that they praised Kyle Shanahan about. So for him to make those adjustments, for him to figure it out, know that you can count on who's been your number one target, Debo, to this point, and George Kittle. What I love about George is 4 for 17 and had the same enthusiasm, same energy on every single play to drive and do what he's doing. To me, that's an unbelievable superstar. So I'm really proud that he's on the Niners. And I know he didn't have a Kelsey-type game, but he made a Kelsey-type impact overall. So I got to give him that. Pat didn't shout my guy out, but I got to shout him out. Jaquiski Tartt.
You're never going to see Pat shout him out. You're never going to see me shout him out.
Saved our behinds. That 91-yard pass in any other time would have been to the house. My man comes in, coming off that turf toe. We didn't know he was going to play and put him down and made it happen. Demo Lenore, I know he gave up the 91. However, for him to be resilient, bounce back, and put together a pretty decent game overall, other than those two plays there. So I have no complaints there. Nick Bosa looks good. Josh Norman asserted himself early. They feel good about him, and I love that. Armstead actually had a decent game with the RPO. Arden Key came in. Javon Kinlaw, you can see the difference it makes when he's in the middle for us.
Right,
I love.
100%. Can I say
last week? Go ahead.
Can I say to your point right there, CT? Armstead didn't jump off the film for me today. I think that, and if you notice, they have him more and more in sub packages.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Which is understandable. Is understandable. At this point, the type of player he is, it is situational. It is, with certain personnel involved. He's just
should have kept Buckner.
Stats. We couldn't afford it.
It was either Buckner or Kittle. So we'll keep Kittle.
No.
Yes.
Probably.
We're not going to talk about this. Go ahead, CT.
So Pat, it's not even that. It's Kittle and Fred Warner.
Exactly, but never mind. He's a Raider
fan. Jimmy Ward made some plays. Al Shahir, learning, but definitely productive there. Overall, pretty happy with that. Very worried about the running back room. That's the last thing I'll touch on. Elijah Mitchell, hopefully it's just a stinger on the shoulder. Hasty with the ankle. The ankle games are always pretty rough. Not sure. Trey Sermon irritated me so much. Why would you lower your head like that? I hope he's fine from this concussion, but don't put yourself in that situation. And then they were like, "Oh,"
and he had a good run. He had a good run, and bam.
Taking the injury out of the situation, just him making that type of mistake when you're not supposed to do that.
Validates him not being on the field.
Facts. And shout out to Jimmy G. We were thinking, do we have a 2-quarterback system? It depends on the personnel. It depends on the situation. Kyle said that, but everybody took it with a grain of salt. And Jimmy played one of his gutsiest games that I've seen him play. Things weren't going our way with the passing game, so he made it happen, man. A couple of short yardage conversions, really being physical, against a D line as amazing as that D line. I got to give him his credit, man. He pulled out something that we really needed today, and that was a situation where if you have
that
the right
third and two,
it'll deliver. Absolutely.
Yeah, that 3rd and 2 was probably huge. That 3rd and 2 was probably the best play of the game for me. For him to get that rush in his face, step up, step around, scramble out, and go ahead and pick up that first down. Shout out to Jimmy G for that. But John Goodman in our comments over here pointed out a really good play. 2 for 7, 16 yards. Devontae Smith, who tore up Atlanta last week. Josh Norman, kudos. Quan, would you like to speak to this San Francisco 49er 2-0 streak here?
Well, on that Josh Norman, I think that's just a really good matchup. I really like a physical corner against a receiver who doesn't have the physical kind of stature. Devontae Smith is probably 170 pounds soaking wet. You put a physical corner like Josh Norman there, who still has a little bit of twitch, more than Sherman got at this point. So he still got a little bit of twitch there. Yeah, Josh Norman gonna win that battle if you let him play his game. So I like that, because if you think of all of Philly's receivers, Quez Watkins, he's speed guy, a little smaller. Devontae definitely small. Jalen Rager's definitely small. Like, they just don't have a lot of size. So you get some physical DBs like Josh Norman in there. I think that's a great matchup for him. But your guys' running back room, I'm not even a Niner fan, and it's worrisome. It's really worrisome that who can you depend on week to week? It doesn't seem like you can depend on anybody in your running back room week to week.
No, you're absolutely right.
No, I mean, and eventually, I know Kyle Shanahan's system and his scheme, you guys can just pump them out like a factory. But at some point, I'm sure the offensive line, I'm sure Jimmy and Kyle would like some kind of stability and consistency, just to know who I can depend on you week to week. And I don't have to switch everything up every single week, because every week I have a different 2-3 running backs I gotta put out there. And look, and I didn't even watch the game by what y'all just said. Everybody hurt again.
Well, Elijah Mitchell had the stinger, but he came back in after the fact. So
he had to, though.
Yeah. So he came back in and finished the game off, which leads me to a question that you've heard it for the last couple of years or whatever the case may be. But from a durability standpoint, just because this guy's never been hurt and he's always available, do you, just for giggles here and just for some veteran leadership in that locker room, in that running back room, do you flirt with the bringing back of Frank Gore?
Frank Gore about to do boxing.
But I'm saying he's been productive. He's been productive year after year. Even last year was productive and wasn't hurt. Do you flirt with bringing him back? One, I think he would be a good locker room guy. I think he would be a good guy in that running back room to teach these guys about body and how to stay healthy. And I mean, this guy, you got to remember, Frank Gore went through everything.
Yes.
And has never had a real crazy injury in the league. So, would it be a benefit to have a guy like that in the running back room?
100%.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they're not going to do
or
it.
You guys
make too much sense.
Or I'm sure the Niners, the front office, John Lynch is a very smart guy. I'm sure he's looking around, looking on the
waiver wire.
Guys that might be up for trade for the waiver wire.
That's the one, though. That's the one. He can adapt to any running scheme that you have. He's physical, short yardage back at this point in his career, more so than he ever was. If you remember,
go get Adrian Peterson.
For what?
Nah, I disagree. It's Frank. It has to be. There's too many people down, and just get Frank until you get Jeff Wilson. You know what I mean? And Jeff Wilson will take us for the rest of the season. That's my belief, and that's my hope.
What's wrong with AP?
No, it's not happening.
He's not us. He's not us.
No, it's not gonna happen. Shout out to John. John coming with good content today. Oh, Saudi says trade for Kareem Hunt. I don't know.
Y'all would definitely have to.
I have nothing to give him
for a second. You have to give
No,
him first
it would not be no
first.
first or second. Quan,
Third or
you sound like a Raider.
What?
That was an Al Davis comment.
If
Got a
I'm
lot
the
of
Browns,
baggage,
I'm not
bro.
giving him up for a fourth.
You have to. He's
Why?
not a premier running back. He's not the number one guy.
Yeah, but y'all need him more than the
don't
Browns
care.
will want to give him up. Y'all,
I don't care.
It's not a Michael Turner
but-
situation. Sorry.
man, you better give up them picks.
Shout out to John, because this is what we're going to just touch on really quickly. Bad injuries in the NFL today. I think Cam might get the call if another quarterback goes down.
Same thing.
Yeah, and then I think that this is something that's interesting to see. I've been one to stance, and I say I think that Cam should get a call in Atlanta. Personally, I think that that's somewhere he needs to be. But you have Tua.
What happened to Tua? I saw him.
Yeah,
Any diagnosis?
Something with his ribs. He's supposed to get an MRI tomorrow.
Okay.
But he had a rib injury and got carted off the field. This is Tua. I know you had some injuries, bro. You had the hip. You had a lot of different stuff. But Tua, you got carted off the field for your ribs.
He couldn't walk, bro.
Like, come on, bro. Like, you got to figure this out. So Tua's down. Ryan Fitzpatrick, we know, is down. Andy Dalton goes down. Justin Fields comes in and plays decent in his stead. But we got to figure this thing out as it pertains to, is Cam going to get a chance? Like, what's happening here? Just because simply it seems like this season is made for Mr. Glass, man. It's a lot of injuries happening. And you wish no injuries on nobody, right? This is not something we want to see in the league. But we got to figure this thing out. And Tua has to figure this out. That is the one injury to me that I have to harp on, because Tua, I had high hopes for Tua, and he's not that guy. Tua's not that guy.
Do you guys think it's a matter of how they're training? I remember watching Sop when he was posting all the stories and stuff that he did some off-season training at a facility. I forgot where they're at, but it's a
Stars
GOTA
in
facility.
LA.
No, not that. It was a GOTA facility, focusing on like the way you walk, the way your feet align and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've been following those guys for a while, man, and you see a lot of these injuries that we're seeing, minus the quarterbacks getting hit like Tua and stuff, but a lot of them are non-contact injuries. Like there's so many meniscus tears, there's so many ACLs, there's so many Achilles, all lower body extremities, and it's mostly non-contact.
That potentially could be alignment stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So it would go down to the way that they're training, like in the off season, the way they lift weights, the way they do that kind of stuff. Even Odell Beckham is still not playing. Like, bro, you already had a year off.
Yeah, and I think that this is something that the league needs to do. Sorry, that's a good point. They got to go back to grass. Just every team, just go back to grass. It seems like these turfs they have no give. Ankles are getting stuck. Stuff is happening. Go back to grass, and you'll see the injury bug. I guarantee it'll start to tick down a little bit.
That's a good point.
I know it's more expensive over the long run, but at the end of the day, it's about the health and the safety of players, and not about stuff that is stupid. And this is going to be my last rant of the day before we get ready to shut down the show. It's about the health and the safety of players, not stupid stuff like taunting penalties.
Right.
I hate it with a passion. A guy makes a play, gets up, excited about the play he just made, and gets a flag. The guy from Tampa, what's his name? Was it Mitchell Murphy? Whatever his name is, the one that got the pick 32. He runs into the end zone backwards the last 2 yards and gets a flag. What? Are you kidding me? DJ Reed makes a play on the ball, stands up and is excited, flexed about the play he made, and gets a flag. That's not a part of the
fun
game.
league, NFL.
That's not football, y'all. We got to figure that out. Y'all got to do something about that. So that's my last little rant. The time is far spent, man. But I want to get y'all last little thoughts, last little words tonight. Quan, CT, last thoughts.
See, go ahead, bro. What you got?
I just want to shout out how proud I am of Lamar Jackson, and not just because of his performance tonight. just the trust that his coach has in him that I don't know if he always had. You know, they kept showing that little clip where they said, you know, Lamar, what are you going to do? You know, and has he finally earned that type of respect from his head coach to do what he needs to do? It seems like this year they're giving him a little bit more. They're giving him the keys to the castle in a way that they weren't before. So I just want to shout him up on his leadership skills and just, you know, showing that he's ready to take it to another level, which I respect.
Last words. Shout out Derek Carr. Let's keep it going.
Well, we'll see. We got to figure out what's going on with the show next week. I'm planning on, if I can, to get in and be at that Sunday night game against the Packers at Levi's. If I can get into that, that'd be amazing. But if not, we'll be right back here. Y'all know, and this is just a disclaimer. Every Sunday night after Sunday Night Football, the Field Level is right here on Facebook Live, on YouTube Live. You can find all of our catalog of shows on our YouTube page, The Field Level. Then if you want to, jump over to your podcast platforms. If you want to go to Spotify, if you want to go to Google Cast, if you want to go to Apple Podcasts, we're there. Look up The Field Level, run up those numbers. I mean, I was excited today, guys. I went on there and we got 9 listens, 9 clicks from Germany. Shout out to my German folks. Wherever you're at, you know, Guggen Talk, whatever it is, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Belgian waffles, Belgian waffles, the whole 9, man. Shout out to the Belgian
finest,
Frankfurters, the whole 9. I'm with it all, man. So, shout out to them. Remember the European football? It was the Rain Fire. That was my team out there. Shout out to them, everybody, bro. So we really appreciate all the support that we're getting at this juncture. Make sure that you're following us on our social media platforms. And then not only that, man, share them. Like, let's get this thing really rolling. If you want to follow us on Twitter at The Field Level, please do that. If you want to follow me individually on Twitter, this is Field Level. Pat, you have Quan. Quan, give me your tag.
My tag is LEQUANW. You'll find it. Don't worry about it.
Laquan W. LEQUANW. Laquan W on Twitter. I believe CT is the clutch coach. CT.
Yes, sir.
On Twitter. Shout out to that. Then if you want to hop over to that Instagram platform, follow us at The Field Level 1 on Instagram. John, you said you're gonna be there at the home opener. Hey man, send us some little chats in the Field Level family group on Facebook and let me know what it is. If I get in there, I want to definitely link with you. Buy you a hot dog or something, bro, for all the love that you're showing us. Also, if you want to be a part of the Field Level family Facebook, let us know, man. Let us know what it is, and we're gonna get it going. This is Pat. This is Quan. This is CT. We are not just individuals, but we are the Field Level, the football podcast of the West Coast. Hey, love y'all with the love of God, the whole 9. Y'all sleep tight and don't let them bed bugs bite. We are over and out.
Every week, catch your freshest on your TV. Field Level Football, Quan, Pat, and CT. On the field, running plays for the 3P. And we shine lights, camera action when you see the team. Pick 6, touchdown when I got the ball. And if you think you in my league, tell them knock it off. Money calling every day, and I just got the call. Reduction over projection, it's in us, we just got a ball. We just got a ball. We just got a ball. We just got a ball.